The 2026 FIFA World Cup meal at McDonald's is underway with one of 9 legendary cups in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine Yamal, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Son Heung-min, Alphonso Davies, Santi Jimenez. And between the posts, it's Grimace. Get one of 9 collectible cups with a FIFA World Cup meal. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
This episode is brought to you by Prime. What if you had one more chance with the one that got away?
Sam, you came home.
Based on the best-selling novel from Carly Fortune. Every Year After follows childhood friends Sam and Percy as they reunite in the dreamy, nostalgic lakeside town of Barry's Bay.
Love can be hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find that person, never let go.
A second chance at first love. Every Year After, now streaming only on Prime.
Let's hang out. And let's talk about what Lez is about. And let's listen to 2 lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lez Hang Out, the podcast where my feelings are true. I really love you. Oh, you're my best friend.
You're my ex-best friend.
No, you're all my best friends. From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those who've been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week. This week in the Lesdom. This week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. In season 9, we are continuing to release our Patreon bonus episodes. If you want to listen to those, you can listen to them at bit.ly/LezPatreon. In the greater Les universe, a lot of our Should Have Been Gays have been really being confirmed this week. Sister Mary Robert from Sister Act confirmed that she was indeed playing the character gay and attracted to Dolores. So if you want to check out our Should Have Been Gay on Sister Act, just want to say we told you so. Also, one of the K-pop Demon Hunters writers came out as bisexual while writing the movie, which does not surprise us at all because we know that K-pop Demon Hunters is all an allegory for coming out and being gay, so it makes complete sense. For any of you Ted Lasso fans out there, there is a new Ted Lasso season with a trailer that just dropped that will feature a women's soccer team, so guaranteed there's going to be some queerness there. Can't wait to see that. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you episode 21 of season 9, Friend Zone. And we are even more excited to be joined by a very special guest today. It's Daniel Lavery, who is a writer and resident of Planet Earth. Dan, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I should have said this earlier. My one thing is I never go by Dan.
Daniel, thanks for being here.
It's really something that I should tell people if I have such strong feelings about it.
You should, and I didn't ask, and I asked so many other things, but now I know. Hold on. Daniel Lavery, writer, resident of Planet Earth, who only goes by Daniel.
Mm-hmm. Or Danny.
Okay, well now we're just introducing too many options into the mix.
Too many variables, yes.
Too many choices. I need one choice. It's Daniel forever.
Well, Daniel, welcome. We are so excited to talk to you today about your new book, Meeting New People. Why don't you give our listeners just like a short blurb before we dive into the themes?
Would love to. Yeah, so this began as I pitched it to my agent as my sort of Nora Ephron pastiche. I love Nora Ephron. I think she combines writing interestingly about food and interestingly about cruelty in ways that I really enjoy. And so I wanted something like Heartburn, which if you've heard of it, is her sort of like thinly veiled novel about what it's like being cheated on by your husband, Carl Bernstein, when you're 8 months pregnant. And I wanted like that level of like deranged anger, volatility, intensity, life falling apart. But I didn't want the narrator to have the same sort of like moral high ground. Like she has an unimpeachable moral high ground, which is like, you have cheated on me while I am very, very pregnant. And I wanted this to be about somebody who had no moral high ground of any kind. And so it's a book about a difficult woman in her late 50s named Barbara, who has recently been dumped by her best friend, Susan. I can't tell you how hard it is when I'm describing the book not to say unceremoniously dumped, which like I only ever hear the word unceremoniously attached to the word dump. Like it's never used for anything else. And I've never seen a ceremonious dumping. So it just seems like a totally meaningless phrase to me. And yet I really want to use it all the time.
Also, is it true? Because I will say Susan shows up with like a handwritten list, and that actually feels like a ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like
That
if
is
you're
a
gonna do it.
pre-planned ceremony for sure.
I mean, you stick a candle somewhere, that's a ceremony.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's just used now as an intensifier, the way like literally is. All of which is to say, anyways, she gets dumped. We don't get a lot of details about why, but you do get the sense that she probably kind of deserved it, at least some, and then sort of flails for a while and reflects upon, how important the category of best friend is to her, the number of best friends that she's had over the years, and the fact that none of them are currently her best friend, and then tries to figure out where to take her life from there.
Yeah, I feel like too the sort of like serial monogamy of the best friendship kind of thing, which I do find to be interesting. And I know that I feel like it feels very like inherently queer in like a very platonic way, but that like best friend breakup, best friend breakup, best friend breakup. The fact that she's like had 8 best friends over her life, and it's like very, I feel like the sheer intensity of a best friendship to warrant the breakup is just like this universal queer experience.
Lesbians in particular, I don't know if you've got to that part of the book, but she takes a pretty hard line on like, I will not be best friends with a lesbian. I have thought about this carefully. It is because they will never really respect you as a straight woman. And also, you can never be friends with just one. Like, you have to end up being friends with like 12, and it's just too much to manage.
Listen, as much as I don't want to agree with Barbara on so many things in this book, girl, she's not wrong.
She's often wrong, but she's also often right. Like, I don't think she's ever all right about anything, but she, I think, again, like she talks about how, she's sort of, she claims at least that she is comfortable with the fact that she is not going to get married again, and she has no more interest in romance. But that at this point, like, women are the only thing that matter to me, she says. And then she also has like a really weird out of left field, like, comment she makes about vaginas, which is just sort of like, all right, Barbara, thank you for letting us know that one.
Wait, I feel like I don't remember the comment about vaginas.
And she says, I think at one point, I think it's like the line is like, I don't happen to be one myself, meaning lesbian, but at this point in my life, it's only women that matter to me. That's why that distance is so important. She's talking about like how lesbians make great acquaintances and coworkers, but you got to keep them at arm's length. And because she says like, of course I've tried having sex with a woman. Hasn't everyone? And she says it was like 15 years ago. She was nice about it, but it was awful. Poor thing. I had no business doing it, and she knew it. There's nothing about pussy that I ever want to be that close to again. Frankly, I'm too close to my own for comfort. And again, like, we don't spend a lot of time going into that aspect of her life. So you just get this really quick snapshot about the sort of like discomfort, alienation, resentment, envy that she has about lesbianism and pussy in general. And then she just kind of drops that one. And so whatever else we find out about her throughout the book, it is not direct again.
It's so funny because, one of the things that we do every other week on the podcast, we do a segment that we call Should Have Been Gay. And we talk about like movies, TV shows, songs, books, whatever, and how they were like very, very gay, actually. And I'm like, man, you could do a deep dive on Barbara. Barbara as a character, where I'm like, the stream of consciousness narrative of like every single close best female friend I have had in my entire life, and how we met and how we hit it off, and let me tell you everything about them and all the things that happened in our friendship and how I know them so well, and then what happened to ruin our friendship and how it ended. And I'm like, that's not straight behavior. She is something. She's something, and I don't know that straight is the right answer.
I don't know that it is either. In some ways, it feels like profoundly straight, in as much as sort of like once you give up on like the couple form, you sort of like put too much in the friendship bucket, and then you grow to resent each other. But I agree that like it doesn't work with straightness either. So it both is and isn't very straight, I think. Yeah, again, I think she also has a bit about how she really resents like, she's again like an incredibly judgmental person, but she's also incredibly like desirous to connect. And she talks a lot about how like women her age who have gotten divorced really get on her nerves because they seem really smug, like they've found the answer. And I think that's the type of person that she's often really turned off by, is anyone who seems like they found the answer. And she talks about how her least favorite type of that kind of person is someone who comes out and is a late in life lesbian. And again, there's that like resentment, envy of anyone who seems like they're happy and they've gotten their lives figured out really sets something off for her. And I think it's also sometimes true that like when a couple in their, like a straight couple in their 40s or 50s divorces and then the woman comes out as a lesbian, there is a weird sort of like everyone's like congratulating her like she's just won a prize. And Barbara has like a particular response to that I think is very, I don't know if I would say it's like indicative of straightness, but it's like there's a sort of sense of like, how dare you leave the rest of us behind in the muck? Like we're really trying to finish World War I here. And you just got like a golden ticket of leave and you don't get to do that. And you don't get to think you're better than me. You know, no one's better than me. There's a reason she can't keep a best friend is what I'm saying.
As much as I so want to assign queerness to Barbara, I also deeply don't want to claim Barbara for the queer community. 100%.
She's fictional, so she cannot hurt us.
Yes.
Leah, I think if you really set your cap at her, I think you could. I think you could get something.
That's true. There's worse. There's worse in the community already. I'm just saying we don't need extras. We don't need more trouble.
I do love, though, in talking about the book itself, like, I was just going to say, one of the things that's interesting about the book is, like, this sort of, like, unreliable narrator of Barbara. Like, the entire book is just told through her lens, and yet still we can know that she's clearly wrong. But I do find it funny and interesting, like, she's so specific. Like, she very much has, like, her ideas of how life is supposed to be. And like there's rules and there's things you must follow. And then, you know, she's like, all right, well, I followed all the rules and still my life is in shambles. So now what do I do to sort of like let go of that? Right? Like, I guess, yeah. Where did that come from for you when you're creating this character?
You know, I think anytime you write about somebody who is stuck, and especially in the very early processes of figuring out whether or not they want to try to go somewhere else, you know, all of our own best ideas are the ideas that we think work. So whenever we're trying to solve a problem without a lot of outside help, I think often and naturally, although also obviously counterproductively, our first instinct is, let me try the thing that got me into this mess in the first place. I'll just be more careful. So, you know, I'm going to pick up the 8 spinning plates loaded with like mashed potatoes and gravy and balance each one on a fingertip. But I'm just going to walk real slow this time. I'm sure they won't fall. And it looks ludicrous when someone else does it. But often when we do it, it feels, no, I'm just going to be more careful. I'm really going to make it. And I think particularly the position that she is in is, you know, someone who has alienated a lot of the people in her life. She does talk about this a little bit explicitly. She does not have anyone in her life to mirror her, to let her know this is what you look like when you do this or you say this. And I think in particular, when you put a lot of investment in your relationships, but you don't necessarily have a lot of practice with low-level conflict, you don't know, are my friends telling me the truth or are they being polite right up until the moment they get so sick of me that they never want to see me again? And then I'm all of a sudden going to get this sort of whiplash from, no, you're fine, to you're not fine, you've never been fine. Here's 12 things I hate that you've done recently. Goodbye forever. And then what do you do with, like, because it's so much intensity that she gets from Susan and it's so difficult for her to sort of sort through, is some of what she said true? Some of what she said seemed really unreasonable. Can I therefore dismiss it all? Who can I talk to about this? Not people at work because I'm embarrassed. Not mutual friends because they might take her side. Not people I don't know very well because I don't want to seem like I'm unhinged or a bad friend. And so I just have to guess. And it's a little bit like, I don't know, closing your eyes and trying to make your way around a room at work. You might think, oh, I have a pretty good mental map of the room, but without the usual feedback that you're used to, you're like, when did this table get here? How do I find the door? It's really difficult to navigate in that way by yourself.
And it's so funny too, because there's something to be said for Barbara's ability to constantly sort of be like, I feel like she's circling the drain around this idea of like, is it me? Right? Like she's having that am I the drama kind of moment a lot of realizing like, there is this pattern actually now that I get into it, like let's, you know, we're rehashing all the friendships, we're rehashing all the relationships, we're rehashing everything. Well, not even rehashing, you're like actively watching all the stuff with Ezra, her son, playing out, you know, and you're sort of seeing her kind of like glance, you know, it's like, oh, like near the frying pan, but not touching it. And it's an interesting dance she's got going with herself.
Yeah, I think that that's very much true. I don't even know that I have a lot to say to that. She's got a lot going on. And yes. I lied. I think I do have a thought, which is just that I think, at least for me, the sort of question of, was I wrong versus do I not behave in a likable fashion? Those are two questions that are really important to Barbara. And I think she is in some ways rightly suspicious of, especially like as an older woman who is not married, who is not especially well off, who is like clearly sliding down out of the class that she was in 15 years ago. You know, she's really aware that if I want to go along to get along, I should give up the fight with Ezra. I should get the different furniture. I should get rid of my taste. I should be easy to get along with. And that, I think, is not completely unrelated to, but it is separate from a question of like, am I being a good person? Am I behaving as well as I could? And she's very, very frightened of one and less frightened of the other. And I think is very aware that people want, you know, softness, roundness, easy to get along with, ness. And she wants to remain herself. She wants to have her own taste. That is, I think, such an important part of like, that's why she's always listing her furniture, because it's like this sense of like, I am a person who like had a certain type of education and came from a certain class and expresses myself in this way. And it's like, especially middle class way. And that's something that the world wants to take away from me now that I'm like, you know, not important, but I don't want to lose it. And so I think for her to figure out how to resist one question while seriously answering the other is like the problem of the whole book. Like, can you become a better person without just saying, okay, I'm going to sand off all the edges. I'm just going to be fucking nice all the time. I'm going to be a doormat. I'm going to let everybody walk all over me. I'm going to be a nice grandma. She doesn't want to be a nice grandma. And I don't think she's going to be. But I do want her to be, you know, slightly better off at the end of the book than when we found her.
I'm like, I don't know how many spoilers I want to give people, but do you feel like she's better off at the end of the book? I feel like it's interesting because it's like very cliffhangery, but in like a, okay, she's trying something new. Like she has and it's up to you if you want to give a spoiler for like the dinner party situation and everything, but I feel like it is interesting the difference between the one, she's like, okay, I'm sort of leaning more into community, larger community, rather than like one person has to be my best friend and everything to me.
I will not try to give spoilers, but it is also not, it's not a book where, you know, if you know some of what's going to happen, it's like, oh, that's, you know, it's not like the
journey's the point.
I wish it was Conclave. I think my next book's going to be some version of Conclave.
Nice.
Yeah, so specifically, the last line especially was written very much with Barbara Pym's Excellent Women in mind. That's a book that's very important to me, and the last line of that is, I think, fantastic. So that's present in it. But I also, I wanted it to feel like not definitive. I wanted it to feel like there was some sort of shift in her, but that did not necessarily result in, and then the world immediately rewarded me with all the things I was looking for. And it's also, especially if you are looking for healthy and appropriate intimacy, you really can't rush it. You cannot generate a new best friend within 6 weeks, and anyone that you become incredibly tight with in 6 weeks, maybe it'll work out great, but maybe also it was too fast for a reason and it will go off the rails, and it's often difficult to determine that. So, I knew, I wanted to depict what's a reasonable amount of, magnificent transformation, the average difficult person can go through in like a several week period. Probably not everything.
Mm-hmm. Small steps. tiny steps of difference.
Not quite like, and Scrooge became as good as his word. He was as good a master and as good a man as the merry old town ever knew. Like, I love that.
God bless us, everyone.
Listen, that's a great line, but you really got to earn that one. And I don't think I'm at Dickens level, so I didn't try.
I mean, I do feel like it is interesting of like, just, I don't know. I feel like I know people like Barbara. I feel like we all sort of do, right? And what I mean by that is, I think the older I get and the more I'm around people, it's like people change some sort of, like very minimally. Sometimes they can, sometimes they don't. But like it feels like a very like realistic depiction of the human condition, or whatever you want to call it, of like self-growth.
I mean, I didn't reread it until I had finished writing the book, because I didn't want heartburn to be like constantly at the front of my mind while I was writing. But I love Nora Ephron. I love her work. I love heartburn. And I was really struck by rereading it, just how much the sort of norms of like what would be a reasonable or appropriate thing to say. And again, not that the narrator of Heartburn is meant to be the most reasonable or appropriate person. Like, she's obviously like in a moment of profound pain, and she's also, unique. But just like, for example, like the level of conversation about like other people's bodies and about food and dieting and thinness, that has shifted hugely in the last 40 years. And I think Barbara is especially representative of a type of person who thinks like, right up until 10, 15 years ago, this was totally normal. This was how you, made small talk with your coworkers. This was how you connected to your cousin that you otherwise didn't have much in common with at family reunions. Now, all of a sudden, I'm a monster for acknowledging, this social reality that used to be a given. And she resents that. And, on balance, I think it is a good thing that the conversation has shifted. And I also think it's really interesting to consider, what does resistance look like on the other side of it? I mean, resistance to it, not like resistance with a capital R. And what gets lost when a good change happens. That's not to say that change oughtn't to have happened, just that for a certain type of person, it feels like suddenly I'm being chided by people 20 years younger than me. And now I feel like things are no longer my business. And I don't know how to make polite small talk with other people because this whole, topic has been totally taken off the map. And it really bothers her. It bothers her immensely, and it makes her think about it a lot. And that was sort of like both fun and unpleasant to think about. Again, as a person who's like, I've really benefited from the shift in that conversation. I'm really glad that things are different. But it was fun and upsetting to sometimes spend like 20 minutes in like you, I've known many Barbaras, and I was like, yes, I can replicate this mindset. Nope. Like, just like sit down in front of a computer, like tap my hands to the side of my head. It's like, I'm in the mainframe. I know what she's thinking.
I am her. You're talking about too, like the conversation she's sort of having with herself of like, I keep myself within 5 pounds of like, I weigh myself once a week and blah, blah, blah. Well, and I feel like it's interesting too, because food is such a through line in the book as well. Was that just like a choice of this character, Barbara, this is like important to her, or was there something else there for you?
I do want to reassure listeners, the whole book is not just like Barbara listing her weight.
Yeah, it's like Bridget Jones's Diary. There's just like a weigh-in every chapter.
Right. And I mean, again, like that book came out in the 90s, and it was like a hugely popular movie in the early 2000s. And that's not to say that everyone who picked it up was like, this is terrific, I love this. But it was absolutely, part of the conversation. Uh-huh. People talked about it, and it was not like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so for Barbara, again, that sort of like silver palette coming of age in the 80s, like, I'm a good hostess. I don't take it too seriously because I'm also a career woman, and I'm also capable of like exhibiting discipline and restraint. Like, I have the correct relationship to pleasure and discipline. I'm just fun enough that I like to make good desserts, but I don't like dessert too much. Don't get scared. Don't worry. And so it's very important to her, like in as much as the same way that she's proud of, here's a great recipe I have and I want you to know it. She also wants you to know, here's the way that I maintain this 5 pound like weight window. And it's almost the same thing to her. It's just like, here is my recipe for proper living. I can do both of these things. And I'm happy to share them with you if you want to hear about them. And so, again, I think she thinks of this as like, this is a really relaxed relationship to maintaining a weight. Good news. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another person might read that and think like, that does not sound relaxed. That sounds like something else. I didn't want to make it definitively diagnosable or not, but just again, I think I've known a lot of women of her generation that's like, if you wanted to, you could probably stroll into a doctor's office, get a diagnosis, but also like, you seem happy, or like, you seem used to this, but who am I to tell you how to live your life? And I think just, again, that like interesting middle ground of like, well, you think about it a lot. What are you thinking? You think about it a lot. What are you thinking?
We know everything she's thinking.
Yes.
There's no questions. This feels like a good time to take a quick break, hear from some sponsors, come back, and keep diving in to the book.
Starting or growing your own business can be intimidating and lonely at times. Your to-do list may feel endless with new tasks, and lists can easily begin to overrun your life. So finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything as a built-in business partner can be a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Gymshark, Rare Beauty, and Heinz, to brands just getting started.
Shopify has hundreds of ready-to-use templates that can help you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand's style. And you can tackle all the important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. No need to save multiple websites or try to figure out what platform is hosting the tool that you need. And if people haven't heard about your brand, you can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you, with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns to reach customers wherever they're scrolling or strolling. Start your business today with the industry's best business partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/realm. Go to shopify.com/realm. That's shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
If you've ever blasted synth beats from your boombox or burned CDs for your besties, this one's for you. As people get older, much like their music tastes, their health needs change. AG1 is the simple daily health drink designed to deliver over 75 essential daily nutrients and pre- and probiotics to support energy, digestion, and mood, so you can make the most out of every decade and dance break. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
And I want to start with what is maybe a weird thing to do during a conversation with a guest, which is to bring up a completely different guest that we've had on. But I do think it's funny because we've done a couple episodes specifically about books this year, but I do feel like it's interesting for us, Ellie, that this is the second book this season that we've had where you have a unreliable narrator, slightly toxic stream of thought things where you're like, I'm not sure this is great. And the other book that we just did this with is a book called A Good Person by Kristen King. And what I think is very funny, at least from the perspective of reading those two books, is that in A Good Person, the protagonist narrator is kind of, millennial aged, extremely toxic, mid dating crisis, everything. And when you're reading a book, we talked a lot with Kristen in terms of writing it about that, the process of writing a character where you're like, oh, this is making me question if I'm a terrible human, And what was nice for me about reading Barbara is that Barbara's enough more on the boomer side that I was like, no, that's just toxic boomer stuff, right? And it
To interrupt you, she is Gen X.
Oh, she's 58. Sorry. For some reason, I misread her age. Okay, I'm still going to give her boomer mentality.
I've been thinking of people over 50 as boomers my whole life.
Yeah. I'm still going to assign her toxic boomer, but what I mean is in a general sense, she feels more for me as a reader, she felt like a little step aside, step away, right? From me, which allowed me to have the distance to map her onto more of my parents or and that felt easier for me. I'm curious as in terms of writing it, what was the process for you of writing a character with this sort of constant running stream of I'm not going to say she's nowhere near as toxic as the protagonist of A Good Person, I don't think, but of just sort of everything in there always has that little kind of touch of The question is, as the writer of a character like this, was it still were there times where you're writing a sort of flawed, problematic character that felt like they touched too close to home, or did it start bringing up stuff for you where you were like, oh no?
No, I so far, at least when writing fiction, I have never felt that something was like brought up for me in a like personal way that felt more difficult than just sort of having a feeling that was interesting. That may or may not always remain true. I just so far, I
No, it sounds healthy.
Yeah.
that's not yet been my experience with writing fiction. And again with Barbara, for all that, I think she is difficult. Certainly, I tend not to use the word toxic too often about her, just because it feels like I think the ways in which she is difficult, I am used to being on the other end of. But the ways in which I am difficult 20 years from now, and even now, there are other people who are like, I hate this. So I think of her as just a person with different problems than the problems that I've got. Although some of the problems are very much similar. So I would say mostly I feel interested and amused when I would write her. I did not usually feel like sort of personally like implicated or hurt, just sort of like, yeah, this kind of person exists and is interesting to me. And sometimes I like her and sometimes, I want to cross the street to avoid her. But who are the people that she crosses the street to avoid?
Lorraine.
Yeah, Lorraine. Lorraine is even more powerful and old and unpleasant. And look at how many people she's managed to successfully drive away. And probably Lorraine avoids somebody else, or did.
Yeah, it's a real dog eat dog world of who's avoiding who out there.
Yeah. Dogs don't come off real well in this universe. Neither do cats. Like it's not a.
Yeah.
Sorry, like animals are not being killed in this book. To be clear.
I want you to know we're gonna cut all of the clarifications you're giving about the book so that people just have.
I want them to be ready. It is nothing but
It's just weights and dying animals. That's all.
Yeah, it's just snuff
and soup.
Well, I feel like it is interesting. It is giving, like you're saying about like Nora Ephron. It's like they're just human characters, right? It's like even talking about Lorraine when people are like in their mind, they're like, do we call animal control? And it's like, no, she's not like a danger to her dog. It's just uncomfortable to hear the dog barking and you're like, okay. Like, so the lines are very like, things are inconvenient maybe to other people in her life, but she's not abusing her dog.
Yeah, and there's so much suffering that doesn't quite rise to the level of filing a report. That's just sort of awful to have to think about or witness. And oftentimes there's many situations in life where you see suffering and you try to file a report and nothing happens. And so then you still have to figure out what to do with it. And it's, it's difficult.
Yeah. And like, she's just yelling at a difficult dog. But yeah, I feel like the Lorraine of it all, it's interesting that we brought this up because I was going to ask too, in terms of generations, I do find the book to be interesting in the fact that you have Barbara, right? You have Lorraine, who's older. And then you also have like, I forget the name, but it's the person who's at her work, who's like trying to get Narcan in the.
Oh, Caitlin. I thought you meant other Barbara for a second.
Other Barbara as well. But yeah. But like of sort of the generational differences that you see her coming up against. And then like her sort of come to Jesus kind of moment of like, then also taking care of Lorraine later when she like is cleaning up the trash and everything. It's like, she sort of sees herself in this older woman now and is like feels distant from this younger generation. Like I feel like there's just a lot of generational interactions that are interesting in the context of Barbara's life.
Yeah, people are all kinds of different ages out there.
In life, everyone's different ages.
Yeah, and again, I think for her, as she is considering like, am I auditioning for my new best friend? Where do I what's my pool? And again, age gap romantic relationships at a certain point, and is sort of thinking about that for herself. Like, what are the various advantages and disadvantages of being around someone my own age, someone slightly younger, slightly older? And again, she's like very, very aware of the distinctions, how other people would note the distinctions, what people might think if her name was Barbara and her best friend's name was Caitlin, even if there's not a huge age gap between them. Like, those are real. One is the name of a grandma and one is the name of a mother. Like, Caitlin was a young person's name when I was in my teens and 20s, and now it's 30s, 40s. Barbara is a generation above that, and so it's just you could be in opposite generations and have sort of more timeless sounding names, but these are really like Barbara fell off the list at a certain point in I think the 70s, and Caitlin shot up in the 70s and 80s. So yeah, she's thinking a lot about that. Like, will that feel good? Will that feel bad?
Yeah, and it's also just like the the idea of the whole book, which I think a lot of us can relate to, even not in our 60s, of just like or late 50s.
Yeah, not a boomer.
No, not a boomer.
Ellie.
Late 50s. Is the concept of making new friends as an adult.
Mm.
And it's like, even in your 30s, 40s, like, it can be hard to make new friends. And it's like this concept of, at what point do you try to figure out how to build community at different ages? Like, I don't know. I think about, like, I had this is like from a personal standpoint. Like, I had brunch with my grandmother recently, who's in her late 80s, and I find her to be sort of amazing because she always has new friends, and I feel like it's just not that common with older people. Like, but I feel like she's always making friends, you know, and like that. But that's sort of unique, I think, as you get older, to dive into the new friend pool and try to figure it out is tough.
And I think it can depend, again, so much on circumstances and temperament and luck. You know, I think people often want there to be a sort of like guaranteed outcome. Like, if I do X, Y, and Z, then a friend will result. And some of it simply is, I think, luck, proximity, chance. But, you know, at least for Barbara, there's a real sense of like, all right, well, school and the early phase of a career or a new job, or, you know, being part of a new couple or having a child, that puts you in front of a certain number of people every day, which just increases your chances of meeting someone that you click with. And she at least has found like, all right, my kid is out of the house. I have the same job I've had for a number of years. I sort of fell out of the corporate world. So I don't see a lot of the people that I used to see before I got divorced. I'm not meeting that many people. And the people I am meeting do not thrill me. So there's a real sense for her of like, at some point the people tap just turned off. And I see people every day, but not at the same rate that I used to. And she has that kind of bit where she talks about like, you know, like new moms like cruise for friends, the way that like gay guys cruise in parks. You know, just sort of like sizing each other up over the strollers and like, you ready to go? Like, let's talk. The kids are, you know, distracted for 30 seconds. And not that that's normally a time that people talk about as like robust with social opportunity or free time. But again, like, you know, she's 20, 25 years out from that time in her life. And now in retrospect is like, I actually was meeting new friends or like new potential friends all the time. And I didn't really realize it. I didn't realize like how quiet things could get.
Yeah, it's so true though, because it is like, I feel like my wife and I talked about that a ton, where it's like you leave college, right? Like you graduate from college, you go out into the world, and usually you kind of go and you have like a bunch of friends, you know, from school, whatever. And then we hit this period where it was like when we first moved to California, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm in a completely new place as an adult. I don't know anyone out here. And we were like, wait, how the fuck do you make friends as an adult? And it's hard. And I will say truthfully, like having kids, as weird of a process as it is socially, it is. You suddenly have just this explosion of ways and opportunities to meet people and like new people that you meet all the time. And there is a little bit of that, you know, luck and you know, capturing lightning in a bottle of like, who do you actually hit it off with and who ends up, you know, that you have the time and can make things happen with. But then I imagine like then that's sort of gonna taper back down, and now Barbara's in this interesting place where it's like, yeah, right, what do? You go to work? Are your coworkers your friends? I'm going back to church now? Is that what I'm doing? Where do you find people, and what do you do as you're like reeling from this huge friend breakup that I've now found myself in? But like it is legitimately a question that I think most of us are gonna have to tackle again at some point if we haven't already, you know. And especially these days where I think like she talks a bit too about the change in friendships. This is like very, very opening of the book, but like the change in friendships in an era now where so much stuff is happening with phones, with, you know, like you want something, you just order delivery. Like your friends don't have to bring you food anymore, you know. And it's like the sorts of things that you used to do to show that you cared, to show that someone was important to you. Like, so many of these things have kind of fallen by the wayside, in addition to where do you even meet people to try to do those things, you know?
That sort of like depressing montage at the beginning before she sort of like rules a lot of those things out for herself. And again, like, none of this is to say she is quite correct about anything, but at least from her perspective, you know, she's aware of the sort of advice that often gets like tossed at people in her circumstances, which like go to a cooking class, like join a meetup group, learn a new language. And I think she refers to it as like the pointless adult busy work that gets recommended to the lonely, aging, and incompetent. And then that's a great way to meet other aging, lonely, and incompetent people. Again, to be clear, I don't think that's the most accurate assessment of all of that, but that's her perspective on it. And it certainly speaks to, like, they are all people who are looking for friends because they don't have them right now. And she's sort of like, I don't want the stink of failure on somebody else. I've got it on me. I want the good stuff. Like, I know you're hiding the good stuff. Don't tell me to go join a cooking class where I'm going to, you know, meet 4 people who are weird and unpleasant and then have to like force myself to go out to dinner with them. Like, I want the good stuff. Where are you hiding them?
I want the top shelf friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's doing her best. She really is.
I don't know. People use that expression a lot, and like I don't even think that most people are doing their worst, to be clear. I don't think I'm like an unusually pessimistic person, but like on any given day, I don't think I do my best. I think my best is like it's my best. It's pretty rare. And when I feel that I did my best, like I'll come home and I'm like, I think I did my best today. This was a really big deal. It's not like Thursday I did my best.
So true. So what do you say? Like you're like most days you're like a 60%. It's like still not doing bad.
60% is solid. It will keep society running. But I don't believe that most of us are doing our best most of the time, which is probably a good thing because it means there's always room for improvement. Like if I were doing my best and I didn't think I could do much better, I'd be a little worried.
You're so right. That's gonna haunt me all week. Thanks.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's gonna get in Ellie's head. You can't say that. You've ruined her. You're gonna break her as a person. Daniel, you can't do that.
I'm not doing my best. No.
I must do better. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm wondering, we're probably gonna head into our Q&A soon, but I'm just wondering if there's anything else you wanted to talk to our listeners about the book, and then we will head into some multiple choice questions for you.
You should buy it. You should buy it in hardcover because that counts toward getting on the bestseller list. You should buy a copy for your mother that you don't talk to, and you should personally enrich me by buying many copies of the book. If you don't have any money, you should go to the library because I still get money from that.
Or make more money and buy a book. I don't see how that's.
Yeah,
that's
what the hell?
I feel like, listen, it sounds like if you don't have enough money to buy Daniel's book, I think you're not doing your best. You should probably do a little better.
Yes, that was great news.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna make it bad.
You know what?
I'm here to
I'll
ruin
make it better though. I didn't know that. That's a new tidbit for me. That if you get it at the library, you'll still.
So if a lot of people put it on hold, they'll buy extra copies, and then I make money.
Ellie's gonna start checking out so many library books now.
That's great. I love this. Yeah. I love this for all of us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we're gonna head into our Q&A. Are you ready?
Q and gay.
Question number 1: how many best friends have you had in your life? A, none. B, 1. C, 5. Or D, 10 plus.
Unfortunately, it's probably closer to between 5 and 10. But let's say 5 for the sake of clarity.
There's no wrong answer. If you want to count them out and name them all for us, we can take the time to do that. You don't have to be fenced in to the multiple choice selection options available on the Instapoll.
I think it's somewhere between 5 and 10, probably.
What would you say, Ellie? How many do you think you've had?
I do feel like I'm a best friend hoe. So it could be 10 plus for me, probably. Yeah.
Wow. You're not just going to be like, I never had a best friend until I met you, Lee.
Yes. Only you, Lee. I feel like I'm a little sparing with the best friend title. Like I feel like it's not that I'm like best friend, then you're cut off. It's like the depth of friendship that I get with someone, I'm like, you could be a best friend.
Yeah.
And then I collect best friends in different like versions of life. Sometimes, we'll get to the next one, but sometimes there are friend breakups. But I feel like if you get to a point where it's like you're really best friends, those ones usually stick for me. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Let me not jinx it.
Leading us into question 2, Daniel, have you ever had a friend breakup? A, no. B, yes, and I did the dumping. Or C, yes, and I was dumped.
It's certainly possible. I've had a friend break up with me, and I just have forgotten it, like in high school maybe. But oh no, yes, I did have one in French, but it was just that she stopped talking to me, but she would still wear my clothes.
Ooh,
which
that's
is
in the
so
book.
you put that in the book, huh?
You put that in the book.
But like Lorraine is based on a real person, and the detail about being mad at you and still wearing your clothes is also.
Did you come up with all just from your imagination, or did you have to like research out all of the friendship endings that Barbara shares?
No, I mean that's a nice. It's not like my first 2 novels were historical fiction that required a certain degree of research, but this was just like, why do people stop talking to each other? I'm just going to make stuff up. Yeah, so nice. I think at one point I researched like, would this train really go past this neighborhood? And it was like, probably. And I was like, great, that's good enough.
Good enough.
Great.
Or like a bus. I think I chose the bus. It might be wrong. I'm not worried about that. If someone's like, that's not where that bus goes, it's like, fine, use your imagination. Imagine it was the right bus.
In this universe, actually, fun fact, it does.
Great. Yeah, exactly. It's a slight alternative universe.
Yeah. It's AU only in the sense that that bus goes there. Actually, everything else is the same.
I'm curious. We didn't dive in the episode, but who is Lorraine based on? Or you can't reveal your secrets.
Oh, just a lady who lived in my building when I lived in Brooklyn for a few years. She had a different name and different pathologies, but I feel like if I was like, I lived in a building with a mean lady who had a lot of dog hair on her clothes and was mean, that's not like, oh, it's identifying, like you've ruined her life. Like,
Yeah, we're all gonna find her.
She's fine.
All right, question number 3. What do you prefer? A, solo time, B, one-on-one hangouts, or C, friend groups?
I love all of those things a lot. But right now I have a 9-to-5 job and I write novels and I have a toddler. So it's solo time.
Just like those few moments when you're on the toilet or in the shower and you just get like a little quality me time, you know? Yeah, it's really good times. Sometimes you might have to like drive to a store and you get to go by yourself. It's exciting.
I mean, sometimes the 9-to-5 job is my solo time. And I'm like, this is sweet.
That's so true.
Paid solo time. Great.
I know. That's not true. You like solo time as long as it's with Bailey. We've talked about this.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not really a solo time girl. But
yeah.
Yes. I have solo time with my wife. That doesn't count as solo time for me.
That counts.
Yes.
Okay, question 4. Daniel, what's your favorite piece of furniture that you own? A couch, B, a rug, C, a lamp, or D, a table? And we will need you to paint us a word picture of the item.
E, an 18th century room screen.
Oh, why didn't I put that as one of the options, truthfully? I will go and self-flagellate in the corner. You can finish the questions without me.
That was said with great affection.
No, it was payback for calling you Dan at the top of the episode, and I know that, and I will carry that with me.
I'm curious, how did you get this? What is it, 18th century?
It's like a room dividing screen. A lovely still life on it, painted on it.
Ooh, of what?
Flowers. It's 18th century. It's going to be flowers or fruit, unless you're like really splashing out. I got it on First Dibs, that, big antiques website.
For me and Bailey, we are big like Facebook Marketplace finds. We got this kitchen hutch that is like all wood, nice glass, free. And that is our pride and joy.
Free furniture is great. When I did live in New York, it was really nice because there's a lot of people there. So a lot of people will put stuff out on the sidewalk. So you just see stuff more often. And I don't know if either of you remember either the book or the movie The Last Unicorn. It's great. Peter S. Beagle is one of the greatest fantasy novels of all time. And at one point, the character Molly Grew, who is an original character who basically like is Robin Hood's servant, and she's sort of like unhappy. And she sees the unicorn and she just gets real, like her face changes and she's like, how fucking dare you come to me when I'm like this? Like, where were you 30 years ago? Like, get out. And that it was like one of those like dreamscape child's kitchens that was like multi-tiered.
Oh no.
Everything you could imagine in like a kid's playhouse. It was huge. Just like any kind of imaginary kitchen implement you could think of was there. And I was just like, what good are you to me now? Why would you come to me when I'm like this? 35.
Just take it.
Live out your dreams.
Would not be my dream. I no longer have the sort of imaginative scaffolding of a 4-year-old. And that's a good thing. But it was just like, why would you show this to me now when I can't, do anything?
Rude.
To be fair, I will say, I don't know how old your toddler is, but I feel like my kids are really hitting these prime ages where I'm just like, man, these kids have so much shit that like when we were children, like you could never even have imagined of some of the stuff that these kids get to have. And I'm just like,
he's only 2, so he hasn't yet hit the age where like he's got toys that I didn't have access to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if that ever happens, I'll put a stop to it.
Yeah, it's just gonna be blocks and
I grew up in the 90s. I had more than blocks, man. We had sock 'em bop 'em robots and sky dancers and whatnot.
Listen, there's so much stuff for kids these days that I'm just like, man, this would have been so fucking dope as a kid. We didn't have anything even close to this.
You're talking about like an iPad or like what do you mean?
I mean, iPad for sure. Like there's definitely stuff. I mean, listen, I'll tell you what. Now that Eloise is reading and can do like Libby on her Kindle, and I'm just like, oh my God, the amount of books that kid has access to when I was a kid, I'm like that. And we had a lot of books and libraries and whatever, but it was like you had to physically get to a library. Someone had to take you there. You had to like the stack of books. And I'm just like, this kid, oh my God, I would have killed when I was her age for a instant Libby download. Life-changing.
That makes sense. It's funny that you were just like, just lots of books. And I'm like, Farmville?
She gets to read so many books, Ellie. So many books. It's exciting, you know?
Question number 5. What type of relationship is most important to you as you get older? A, romantic, B, platonic, or C, family?
Sex with strangers. That sounds like a joke, but it is not.
I'm gonna listen. I'm writing it in as option D, right now as we speak.
But they have been holding steady throughout my life in terms of importance.
Nice.
But it's really climbing, from childhood up. Yeah.
Like it was holding steady.
Well, I assume it started lower in childhood. I don't know your childhood, Daniel, but I'm going to just go out on a limb.
For me, childhood is everything before 35.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, casually, flippantly in this conversation, it's not one of those stupid fake, your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 50 thing that people used to say online a few years ago.
Oh, people say 50 now.
No, sorry, that was like, I was being insulting by exaggerating it. Yes. They always said 25 was the magic number. So
I think you have to point the mean comments at me specifically, and then people will get it.
I did already call you a fucking idiot, though. And we didn't just meet today.
Do it again.
So I don't want to bring any more smoke your way. I want to be nice.
Yeah, it's okay. Lee liked it.
I can take it.
Amazing. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for spending time with us and telling us and our listeners all about your book. Remind them again where they can find the book and where they can find you.
No, if you want to find it, you'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Great.
On planet Earth, where Daniel lives with all of us. Yeah.
You don't need more. You don't need more books. I'm sure you already have plenty of books. Don't get it.
If you need a new one, though, it's called Meeting New People, and you could check it out. There's very little animal murder in it.
Almost none.
Yeah.
We love hearing from you and building community, so we want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. This week, we'd like to shout out Brandy, who reached out via email to share that the writer of K-pop Demon Hunters came out as bisexual, and we did cover that in the This Week in the Lesbians, so thank you for sharing that, Brandy. Also said they're a longtime listener, and that our K-pop Demon Hunters episode really made them laugh. So thank you for the feedback, Brandy, and thank you for sharing gay news with us. We always love to hear it.
As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
Sophia Phillips,
And Armani Gucci.
And our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen.
And Andrea Doucette. Thank you all so much. We absolutely could not keep making this show without your support and the support of all of our patrons.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Lez Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at lezhangoutpod@gmail.com.
Or check out our website at lezhangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. That way you'll get new episodes as soon as they go up every week.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/lezhangoutpod to catch them.
Lez Hang Out is an independently produced show. It's hosted by us. Our audio production is done by Ellie. Our production assistant is Krista Mearson. And other podcasting shenanigans are done by me.
If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is to rate and review us on wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps other people find the show.
If you want to support us financially, again, it is one of the absolute best things you can do to help keep the show alive. You get access to our bonus Lez Strict regular episodes. You get access to our Discord chat. You can join that at bit.ly/LezPatreon.
If you want to get some Lez Hang Out merch, it is Pride Month. You better get on it. bit.ly/Les merch. Get your gay merch. Send pictures of us. We want to see you wearing your Lez Hang Out merch at Pride.
Remember, we also have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings. You can find us everywhere at Dollar Bean Prod.
You can listen to our first two shows, The Flame and Journey to the Heart, on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/DollarBeanPatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram and TikTok.
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at LSH Foster.
With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.